Hello and welcome to the 18th video in the Project Sovereign series. Today I'll begin on the fine detail of the saucer bottom, including the armor plating and the spokes. This should be fun and informative, so let's get started. I thought this would be pretty interesting and different enough from what I've done previously to show. So what I'm doing is I'm making these plates underneath the saucer, and I'm going to use a slightly different technique. It'll be about the same as the one that I used for these panels here and these. You can't see them. Oh yeah, there we go. These panels here, but it's going to be a lot easier this time because the bottom of the saucer is flat. So this makes life a lot easier, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that now. So what I did was I created this shape just from a line. Let me isolate it. So you can see there, it's just the outline of those, the shape of those plates, and extruded it to just be a simple shape. So all I'm going to do is just collapse all. And turn this into a Boolean. Now I'm not going to choose imprint because I actually want to subtract these shapes. So just click that, and there they go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to attach them. I'm just going to apply my generic model material for now. Because I've noticed that when I attach things and then I do a Boolean to the shape, the attached pieces disappear. And that was a real headache on the last model that I built. So I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to be doing that. And you see I don't even need to cut it into the hull and extrude everything because it's flat. So just showing you a little tip there. Sometimes things are a lot easier than you think they're going to be because you're dealing with two dimensions, like a flat shape instead of compound curves. So nice relief on the bottom of this saucer, and I'm hoping it's going to be smooth sailing for at least a little while longer. Now it's time to create these spokes underneath the saucer of the Sovereign. And I was trying to think of different ways to do this. Naturally, the easiest one would be the best. And I was thinking I could do a technique where I could create a cylinder and use a lattice modifier. I'll show you. It's not the way I'm going to do it, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, something like this, you know, struts only, and something like that, just to create them. You'd see how this would be pretty easy to map onto this. Well, it turns out it wasn't so easy because it's a funky shape, surprise, surprise, on this ship. So I abandoned this idea. So what I'm going to do instead is create lines. And you'll see I've created these guidelines here. Let me unhide my actual hull here. And you can see these are just going to be the guidelines for where the lines are because they don't run all the way through, right? They're here, and then they stop, and then they're here, and then they stop, and they're here. So I drew these lines because my hull doesn't completely perfectly match up with the blueprints. So this is just going to be more accurate, but I do need the blueprints visible so I can, of course, draw the lines where they're supposed to be. So I could just take this, make sure I'm in corner to corner because I don't want these to bend, and just keep going like this. Oops. Start from back here. And this is going to be a lot easier. It just wasn't working out with the cylinder because there's just weirdness about the shape. And I didn't really have time to try to mess with it. I just figured this would be the easier way to do it. So I'm going to finish doing these, but you can tell what I'm doing here. Just drawing these lines out, and then I can proceed to the next step. Okay, so I've corrected all the lines, made sure they're going to where they should be going. And now I've attached them all too, so you can see they're all one object. So now all I need to do is go to rendering, enable and render, and viewport. And I want to be sure rectangular is selected, and just give it a think it's the width that I want to change. And let's see, 1.8. Let's do 0.2 meters. I think that's what it would be. I'm trying to line it up with my reference photos because these plans are too vague. Let's see, maybe 0.25. Let's see, 0.5. That might be too big. Yeah, 0.4 is probably going to be the sweet spot. Cool. All right, so now that we've got actual geometry going on, the next step is going to be to convert this to an editable poly and then cut these up so they're broken along these segments. Again, they don't continue all the way across. They're broken up. So I'm going to continue to do that, and I'll be back and show you the next step. Everything's been cut up, so now it's simply time to just delete what I don't need and refine this piece. So I'll just show you a little bit of how to do that. So just making sure that all of this is selected. Just delete that. And then capping in border mode. So I'll just keep doing that. So now you see it's broken, so it's not going to continue all the way. And just continue doing that throughout the entire shape. So we're nearly there. Just got to do a bit more of this, move everything into place, and then this step will be done. That step is done. So you'll see that I've broken up these shapes into their individual segments and capped all the ends. Now what I need to do is just elevate them so they're in their proper place. So how I'm going to do that is lifting the whole thing up and going into element mode, selecting everything, deselecting what I just moved, and whoops, don't be in edge constraints. Moving this up to where it needs to be. Looks about right. Deselecting this. Let's make sure everything else is selected. It is. Moving that to where it needs to be. Just trying to do it as efficiently as possible because I don't want to spend my life doing this. Deselecting that. And just basically, just doing this until everything is properly in its place. I can fine-tune some stuff later. There's probably going to be some overlapping and things not being where they should be, but that's sort of the way that it goes with this model. But as I like to say, that's all part of the fun. Okay, so just do that. Put my material on it. Give it the old symmetry modifier. And there we have it. See how that looks in the preview render here. Cool. All right. So yeah, that's basically how I'm doing that step. Again, I tried with the cylinder. Quickly realized that wasn't going to work, but this is looking pretty good here. Starting to fill in the detail of the lower saucer. Just some more stuff to do. I know that this right here looks like it's a little too wide right here, but that's only because there's a window bank, see, right here. So these aren't even. This is why I didn't end up using the cylinder, but drawing them by hand turned out to be the easier way. So pushing forward, before we know it, we're going to be done with this part of the project and able to move on to the next one. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon.